It's been a whole 48 hours since I last vlogged, and this microphone is actually dead. That's the microphone I'm using. So let me tell you what actually happened yesterday. I had work from 8 a.m. till 9 p.m. I took with me this book. Even though it wasn't a very hectic shift, I still didn't actually get the opportunity to go through this book. I was obviously hoping through the process of diffusion my brain would just pick everything up. However, it doesn't actually work like that. When I do eventually sit down to study, I think it's highly important for me to mentally be ready to actually study. That mindset makes me the most productive. During my live Q&A on YouTube earlier this afternoon, I actually touched on the topic of studying. Often when we sit down to study, before we really get into the zone, we might have things on our mind where we think, oh, we want to do X, Y, and Z, where X, Y, and Z could be a hobby, doing some exercise, eating some food. And the way that I maximize my focus and concentration on my studying is as follows. If there's something that I really, really want to do, such as, I don't know, sing a song. If I find myself persistently thinking about that particular thing, I just do it. Once I've got that thing out of the way and I'm thinking about it a lot less, that might make my productivity a lot better. Another thing that diminishes my focus when I'm studying is having interruptions. On average, it takes about 11 minutes to regain your focus on something once you've been interrupted. I don't know if I've mentioned this Did You Know fact already. I feel like I have. Additionally, when I'm at work, I'm there at work because I want to be there. I have worked so hard in my life to be working in a hospital, be taking care of patients, and patient safety is my main concern. So just naturally when I'm at work, I will be thinking of ways to be better for those people around me in my community in the hospital setting, helping patients. And I just feel like there's always something in some way that we could be contributing. And therefore I just found it a bit conflicting trying to study when I'm at work. I know some people do it, but it just didn't really work for me. When I'm studying, even though I take breaks a lot, I like to know that I have this long period of uninterrupted time, whereas at work you just wouldn't get that. So yesterday I thought to myself, you know what, I'm just not even going to try to study. I'm just going to put this book away and then I'll come back to it. Now what's happened today is I woke up super late. I went in to make breakfast for my family, which I did. I made fried eggs and brioche toast with some tea. After starting work, I haven't had so much time to myself to work out, and my back just feels kind of weak, so I did some exercises for the back muscles. Another thing I did this morning was edit an upcoming vlog for you guys, obviously. What else do I do with my time? And then I filmed my live Q&A on YouTube. If you are watching this vlog and you know you have missed the live Q&As on my channel, make sure you hit that post notification bell below to ensure you don't miss the next one. The idea of these lives is for you guys to ask me any questions that you have, mainly on my Instagram. I get a lot of questions and you know, sometimes I just want to give a bit more detailed answers, but I just can't be typing so much, especially when I'm just on my iPad or if I see the stuff when I'm out and about. Also, some of the questions tend to repeat themselves. Instead of me having to like type the same things or similar things, I think it would just be better for everyone if I just answer those questions where more of you guys can see it. I'm more of a person who prefers to talk than type. Additionally, I feel a sense of community when I do these lives with you guys, and I like to continue doing those. So make sure you guys try and tune into the next live session if you have some questions you want to ask me. Now that we're done with that, I'm going to bang out another study session. I was thinking of doing a live study session with you guys, but it's Saturday and it's one of my days off from work, and that means that I have a lot more hours right now in order to just kick back and get some good studying done. I'm going to try and study until around 8 p.m-ish, and I'm going to adopt the same style that I did the other day, which is a Pomodoro 45-minute study, 15-minute break. I will start off by recapping all the notes that I made in the last study session and briefly skim reading what I read in the book. Once I've reminded myself of what I should already know, I'm going to start learning new content. Unsurprisingly, I have some pictures that I would like to edit for my Instagram page. During my breaks, I'm going to try and edit some of those. I'll see you guys tomorrow. This is not for me, this is for you.
Nej,
It's for you.
det är nice to say.
No, it's for you. This is kind of embarrassing. I got ready for a meeting. I emailed in saying, oh, I'm ready. And I got a reply saying, actually, it's not happening anymore because I would have been the only person along with the host that would have been a part of the meeting. I therefore threw on some earrings You're really pretty. I changed my top and took a photograph for my Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram already and you would like to see a daily update about my life, then make sure you go and subscribe to my page. Some of you guys might be wondering, it's daylight and you are at home, what's going on? Why are you not at work during a 7-day week? What happened is, although I took this book to work on Monday, I didn't find the time to actually revise. I opened the book during lunchtime and looked at some pages, but unfortunately I just wasn't in the sort of environment where I can actually study. That was unfortunate. On Tuesday and Wednesday I didn't take the book at all because I just didn't feel like I would have found meaningful time to actually read the book. If I'm reading the book in the Uber, I end up feeling sick. If I'm reading on the train and public transport, then with just having to move around and a lot of distractions around me, I just can't focus. The way that I revise is I usually have my book and there's something to make my notes on. To make notes for this particular exam, I've been using my iPad, and just being on public transport, I kind of can't have this big book out as well as my iPad. That's just weird. So let me explain something to you guys. This is a mandatory training for us. For the 2 days out of my days off that I attend this training, I would get those 2 days back in lieu. After discussing potential time off to study for this exam with my senior colleagues, initially we were thinking that I could have like a few hours here and there allocated, dedicated to revising for this exam. Honestly speaking, I've been quite concerned about having adequate time to prep for this, because when I come back from a day at work, I get home like 6:30, I eat dinner. I'm too tired to study effectively. I'm the sort of person who usually studies well in the mornings, as you guys may have figured from how I studied for my medical school exam finals series, which I filmed last summer. So considering everything as well as the discussions that I had, I relayed this back to my rota coordinator, who called me last night in order to say that I can have today and tomorrow off to revise. And why I'm getting 2 days off is that I would have had 2 days off after the course anyway. So what we've done is move that forward. I can use that time to study instead of just, I don't know, relaxing after the exam. I'm very happy about that. Having said that, I got the call so late last night that I just wasn't mentally prepared to study. I mean, I sat down with the book and I was sort of writing on it and making notes and actually reading it, but it wasn't like proper sit down, study, full on. And the way that I usually revise is I usually spend like days relaxing and then, you know, powering through for like a couple of days. I guess revising for this is a bit strange in that I haven't revised for an assessment in such a long time that, I don't know, it just feels a little bit weird. One thing I struggled with in 4th year of my medical school is I sort of developed this mentality that I need the perfect conditions in order to revise. How that sort of presented was I would come home after uni and then I'd be like, oh, I'm not adequately caffeinated, my desk isn't tidy enough, I haven't eaten yet. Or after I've eaten, I'll be like, oh, I've eaten too much, I need to wait until my food has digested a little bit. And I just kept making excuses. And then one day I brought this to my therapist and was just like, listen, I think there's something actually wrong here. I don't know why it is that I keep waiting for these perfect conditions that just keep never really occurring. And I feel like this was one of those things where you know the answer to it, but you just kind of want to hear it from somebody else because it just gives you that motivation. I don't know what it was. She said, what I want you to do today is go home. I don't care what your desk looks like. You are going to study. At the time, I think it was like an essay that I needed to do. She said, I want you to write a whole page. I was like, okay, cool, deal. I went home and I wrote like 4 pages. I literally worked till I think it was like midnight or something, and I was just like super productive, super alert, and I wasn't thinking about what I had eaten. I wasn't thinking about the amount of caffeine I had. I wasn't particularly concerned about the state of my room in terms of whether it was spotless or sub-spotless, if that's even a word. I just made up a word. The reason I'm bringing up this story is because I feel as though there's a small element where I'm trying to wait for these ideal conditions. So as I'm talking to you, I've got a table in front of me, but it's not spotless. I've got this, I've got a comb, some aloe vera gel, It's actually really good, by the way. Snacks that my mum prepared for me this morning, not knowing that I didn't actually have work today. And now just thinking out loud, I am much more motivated to study despite the way that my room looks, and I'll catch up with you guys after I've done some meaningful amount of revision.